2018, it was actually the Colony white paper that got me started in Web3. So I didn't know about Bitcoin or anything. I read the entire white paper end to end, went to my professor, and then I told him, what do you think about this? And he told me it's not going to work. And I was like, I don't think so, I think it'll work. And then we started working together for like 2 years. But yeah, nice to meet everyone.
Nice. Was there any bet?
Sorry?
Was there any bet with the professor?
No, but he's in Chainlink now, so.
Okay, so it worked out. So our topic today is how to build a reputation in DAOs and Web3. So maybe we can start with like what can be actually reputation, in Web3. So what can be actually the reputation? Like, I think we have echo.
Good. So what was the question? Like just any word? Yeah. What is actually a reputation?
Yeah. So in very simple terms, what is reputation? My answer to that would be, it's just like tracking contributions, right? Tracking contributions and to some sort of granular level, so that you can actually track a condensed form of what contributions a person made to a project, and then you can use that to make decisions within this project. This is like a very simple explanation, just so one sentence. Do you have anything to add?
For me, I think from a kind of like engineering perspective, I suppose reputation is kind of like a time-weighted number of combination of reputation can be broken down into competency and reliability. I think that's kind of like the two things that make up reputation. But the time-weighted element of it is pretty important. Right? Like, I mean, if you did something really good in like 2008, okay, people will remember it, but whether you can pull it off again is a big question. Yeah.
So now we know what is the reputation. Why it's actually important to like build some reputation? Like why it's important for me to show off what I actually done in 2008?
Right, because I think a few things. Web3 is fairly new, and so a lot of times people do like cross-referencing for vetting, and also because everything is super transparent, your reputation is on-chain by default. That's kind of how airdrops work, right? Like airdrops is kind of like a point or some sort of reward of your reputation in participating in any particular chain or activity. And so it's especially important in Web3, and even more important in DAOs, where everything is fully on-chain. And it's really difficult because, I mean, back then there used to be this like right to be forgotten thing that Google was pushing for, right? Problem is that there is no such thing as a right to be forgotten here, and people literally don't forget. Like I've been in conversations where people are thinking of investing in a project, for example, and sorry, and like I hear people saying, oh, back in 2015 this happened, and that's not even on chain. So can you imagine now if you look
just
back,
waiting for another echo to come in.
yeah. Well, can you imagine now, like if you look back and you can actually figure out what I used to do at Gitcoin or what you used to do at Gitcoin, and figure out what is our time-weighted competency. So I think that's kind of why it's key. Right. What about Colony's perspective?
Yeah, from our perspective, I mean, like what we're trying to do is to kind of condense it down a little bit, right? Because one person's reputation is basically super decentralized over a lot of different places, a lot of different skills, maybe a lot of interdisciplinary ways of working. So who is kind of boiled down to just a few numbers so that you can like immediately gauge like what are these person's skills like on kind of one like look, just very simply.
So how are you actually tracking those people with a high reputation? Like you said, like Colony is kind of reputation based. So how are you gonna identify, track those people? Because like I get to a point from QZ, like you can prove it, but how I can actually find that?
So I mean, what our ultimate vision is that we give out reputation to interactions or for someone who interacts and contributes with the DAO, right? So in a sense, there can be all kinds of things. There can be like actual contributions, like I did some code for this project and I got paid for it, right? So this is like a simple task. that you can just pay in a one-off way, or you can track contributions on an ongoing level. You can say, I'm actually an employee and then regularly getting paid a salary, and I'm assigned a reputation for this as well. Or what we also do and like aiming to do in the future more is to award reputation for like taking part in governance processes as well. And that's particularly interesting because like, there's this kind of laziness when it comes to governance, right? So we kind of want to like actually encourage people to like interact.
So, you want to add something? Or no, I have actually another thing. So, I get the point. Like you can like give the reputation to people for their contribution. But is there something like, if I look at the Twitter, I exactly know who is the influencer because they have like 100K or 1 million followers. Like, do we have something like that? Like, in terms of like what the reputation, like how I can find those people which actually I want to connect with because they have done so good for the space. Words. How I can find you, Kuzi? How people can find you?
That is a good question. Well, I think the good thing about Ethereum is that because of the community ethos, most of us are actually pretty open until you get overwhelmed. And it kind of happens if you're like a DAO delegate, especially if you're doing RPGF. But I think the good thing is that due to the open nature of most of these projects, you actually encourage people to try and reach out to each other. And because of that, there's almost like a layer zero or like a social layer that right now it's very difficult to track. And personally, in my opinion, I don't think it can be tracked because there's a lot of nuance, right? Like sometimes, you participate in a DAO and you drop off after 7 months, 8 months, right? Does that mean that you're no longer competent? Maybe not, or maybe the DAO has changed. Maybe the DAO's direction is no longer aligned to what you're working on. And I don't think people should be penalized for that. And so hopefully someday I'll be able to see elements of these movements, but still in a way that is forgiving.
Sorry, I forgot what I was going to say. So,
It's okay.
don't worry about
We have another like 2 minutes.
Maybe.
No, actually, so I might direct the discussion a little bit different. So, some people from here maybe are very new to crypto and the DAO space, and the audio is amazing. So, so they can connect with reputable people here in the venue. So that's a one thing. But what do you think like should be for them the first step? Like if they want to actually start like getting their own reputation, like become a delegate, that might be like too advanced. Which should be like the first thing to do? Yeah, to start building their reputation. They never worked for the DAO before.
I mean, we are trying to do to make that easier for people by just having very low-key tasks to like do for people to like just work on. And like you see on GitHub, for example, you have a lot of open source projects have this kind of good first issue kind of thing, and we are trying to kind of build that out throughout like a DAO perspective, from a DAO perspective as well, to kind of signal to people this is something that you can work on, and this is a low barrier to entry, and just basically tag that, and then also kind of tag people or apply badges to people who are like first contributors, and at the same time then maybe other people reach out to them and kind of help them.
It's fun.
I'm going to try to hold it a bit lower. So maybe just share my own experience, right? Like I got involved in Gitcoin through a meme competition 3 years ago, right? Basically, I did the math in my head. There was going to be 10 people that might win, average of 140 submissions. So I submitted once every day for 1 week. And I won. For pizza meme with Emperor Palpatine saying something about democracy. And that's how it started. Right. Yes, I agree. Being able to contribute your competency is a good way to build reputation, but not everybody necessarily has the right skills to be in Web3 at the start, but it doesn't mean that you can't get started, right? So if I could break it down to just 3 things to make it simple for the audience here, I think the first thing is to just show up. Like being there physically or being there virtually, I think that's key. Second one is to participate in a ways that projects value you. So if projects are looking for people that are creating educational content, right, people will love this, right? Come up with things, help people explain, and like that's honestly the best way to build reputation. So many DevRels started out just by making YouTube videos. I started out by just writing little guides on rabbit hole, and people just started following me on Twitter. I was just trying to figure out rabbit hole for myself, right? I think that's super important. And the third, wow. And the third thing, I think, to make it super easy, it's really that once you get started, play a part in the giving back culture and help others get involved also, right? Point them to, like yourself, like what's the good first PR, right? What's a good first introduction? What events to go for? All these nuances change every 6 to 7 months, right? And after a while, I feel it's kind of like the duty of people that have been in the space a little longer to kind of guide the way. And it's almost like a reflexive kind of thing, right? The more you help others, the more you gain better reputation, the more they get to do things that are reputable in a good way. It is possible to do things that are disreputable also. Yeah, I think these 3 things are probably the possible.
Nice. So basically, like in very simple terms, it's like just start doing it, then it becomes your habit, and it's just there already for the show. So do you remember now what you wanted to say?
If I can. Yeah,
It is.
exactly what you said. We have so many people coming into the community Discord basically saying, hey, I have these and these skills, or maybe I don't have particular skills that are needed or that you might be looking for, but here's some typos on your website, here's some typos in the documentation, here's a one way I can contribute, like posting educational content, or just making a YouTube video, or just posting something on Twitter, like all of these tiny things. And we have so many people just reaching out proactively, just saying, hey, I have something to give to you because your project is cool. And I think this is a perfect way to start. Just look at the project, just see how you can add to it. And I think everyone can add to the project in some way.
That's how I started with GitHub as well. Just get into Discord and say this can be working a little bit better. And that was a 2-year journey. So I think we are right at the time to open up for the questions from the audience. So any questions from the audience? Oh, don't all of you raise the hand. Well, so we don't have any questions from the audience. Anything to add?
Any question?
You good? You good? So if you will have any question, you can catch Chris and QZ in the venue. Later, we will be having a little networking actually from the noon. So definitely stay for that. And thank you, QZ.